June 24th, we got AOTC. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's check out the Doran video of the week. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I'm going to pause the music. That was kind of loud, actually. Now that I paused it, I'm like, damn, that was kind of loud. Okay.
DRAGONFLIGH was announced to come out this year, marking the fastest release date in World of Warcraft history. There is quite a bit of hype going around. However, at the same time, I've noticed a huge amount of people are just skeptical, concerned, sort of just at a distance with the hype. While of course, there is negativity for the sake of just negativity, realistically, a lot of people are just on the fence. They really just lack the trust in Blizzard and whether they can really pull off DRAGONFLIGH to be an amazing expansion, especially with what happened recently. So let us address the various concerns that people have, take a look at the most common community issues and how much truth there really is to them. Before we continue with the video, I have something really unique to show you. Blood Vessels, the sponsor of this video. This is, unlike anything you've seen before, a community-driven narrative game with tabletop role-playing and NFT elements, only available to play on the Blood Vessels official Discord server.
Yeah,
it is the 19th century, the year 1893, and you are a vampire mutated by a mysterious virus that needs to decide whether to move against humanity, coexist, or stay in the shadows. Essentially, you create your own NFT vampire and you will get access to special community channels in the Blood Vessels Discord server where your choices will determine the fate of the world and where the story goes. So essentially a community-driven narrative game that you can participate in. So make sure to join the...
I'll be honest, guys, the whole NFT gaming scene, I'm not sure about it. I actually had, so I don't know if you guys have heard of Big Time. It is like an MMO. It's like an MMO NFT game where like gear is like NFT based or whatever. And they reached out to me about playing their game on stream, and I was just very unsure about it. Like, sponsored stream here, you can play our game on stream, but I just don't know about promoting NFTs on my stream because I don't know how I feel about them, and I don't want to put that shit out in front of you guys and make it seem like I'm promoting it, and I'm not even sure how legit it is. So I didn't do it, but just be careful out there. There's a lot of scams.
With my link in the description below, and you can get the newest updates, play the game, and become
done. I'm switching to that game. Screw WoW.
As the future is in your hands.
We have vent there. We don't need that.
First, and the biggest concern that people have, and justifiably so, that can really be described in just one single word. I feel like a lot of people and most of the community are actually just
Wise decision, Sam. The whole NFT thing is a scam. Yeah.
Not allowing themselves to be hyped up.
I'm not saying the Big Time game is a scam. I'm just not sure. I just don't know how to feel about it, and I didn't want to be like a shill who just takes money and promotes shit to my viewers, and I'm not even sure how legit it is.
Much because they feel like they will just end up disappointed at the end. Now, I'm not going to discuss too much from the gameplay side, but seriously, narrative-wise, World of Warcraft really hasn't been doing
putting your account at risk
great since Legion. Sure, there were some really awesome moments, some good things that happened, but overall, storyline was
I just don't want to put you guys at risk too.
Especially in the end of the overarching storyline. In my opinion, BFA was mainly with the ending and how we ended up defeating N'Zoth and the entire cinematic, but
still sad. Still sad how we defeated N'Zoth. I think that was very anticlimactic for being N'Zoth.
BFA was technically just a setup for Shadowlands, so Shadowlands really should have been a culmination. The entire story
Ever met someone who was into it and not trying to get others into it? True.
It was patched up by like 5 different people writing it in 5 different directions, and overall, it just didn't make all that much sense, and the ending was the worst when they revealed that there was yet another big bad behind this big bad that was behind everything. aka the jailer. So, of course, naturally, people are not going to easily forget this entire storyline ever happened.
I
And
killed
I'll
N'Zoth
expect
once and that was
Dragonflight
enough
is
for
just
me.
going to
Yeah,
be
me
this
too.
masterpiece, this best written thing ever. On the positive side, I do gotta say, from what we have known, they started better at least. Shadowlands really was a bit outrageous from the announcement itself, as we already knew how the implications could mess everything up if we are dealing with the afterlife and how we can just shift all the notable characters if you can actually see them. A similar thing happened with Lords of Draenor. We just knew from the start that time travel wasn't gonna be a great idea, and it ended up being the case. However, Dragonflight actually seems good. A massive undiscovered continent that...
Let me fix this because I think the yeah, it dropped to 480p. I'm saying, why does it look like that? But Dragonflight does feel like a return to form, for sure, because we had such a long time now of time travel, all this extra shit, afterlife. We're just going back to dragons and Azeroth now. Feels good,
proven
man.
concept of dragons, mysterious adventure, and most of it, most importantly, focused on Azeroth without any crazy dead gods from the start that are pulling
What
all the
happened to
strings.
Deathwing
Overall,
Soul
it
and all
just
the other big
seems like
bad
a
souls? They never did show them in Shadowlands. I feel like Shadowlands had a lot of cut content. God knows if we would have seen Deathwing or not. We did see that, you know, dragons and their souls and shit. We saw, what's her name? Yazara? Was it? The one that's in Ardenweald. Right? With the tear and all that shit. She's over there, so yeah, they can come to the afterlife. But yeah, Deathwing didn't. Who knows? Yeah, Yazara. He might Deathwing might be in. I mean, his soul might have been so corrupted that he couldn't come to the afterlife. I don't know. But yeah, he definitely was not included in Shadowlands.
much more down-to-earth approach. Ultimately though, I can definitely agree with this concern, as I was seriously highly disappointed with the way the entire storyline went with Shadowlands, and I'm definitely a bit skeptical whether they can pull off a masterpiece with Dragonflight. But on the bright
They definitely have to pull off a masterpiece with Dragonflight. And Shadowlands, Road Rover says, Shadowlands got an unfair hate, to be honest. They screwed up the conduits at the start and didn't let you swap. It took a lot of time to come back from that. Yeah, no, I know. Well, here's the thing, though. You know, people give WoW, you know, one shot. When the expansion goes live, you get your shot to be good, right? And it just wasn't. It just wasn't. Torghast was a grind. You know, the not being able to swap covenants was a grind. And people just quit. I do agree. Shadowlands right now is not bad. Shadowlands, when it launched, yeah, it had problems.
side, the story is that Shadowlands was half scrapped and really delayed because they have been working on Dragonflight this entire time. So maybe through Dragonflight we will learn why Shadowlands was just so lackluster, and it might just make up for the difference. Release date. To say that we were shocked when the release date and the pre-order was announced.
Yeah, I agree. The dungeons and the raids were on point. I mean, the newest raid is good.
Compared to all other expansions, it almost always took at least a year, but usually more, from the announcement to the release date. But since they said that Dragonflight will be out on or before December 31st this year, it means that it is going to be around 8 months, which is quite shorter than anything they have ever released before.
Definitely short.
This is even doubly more concerning because usually the alpha and the beta would be going on for a while, and there would be a lot of time to test out the new features, to fix all the bugs and all that stuff. But in the case of Dragonflight, the alpha hasn't even started by the time of this video, so the entire testing period is going to be less than 6 months, which I can't say.
I have high hopes for Dragonflight. High hopes for Dragonflight. I think it'll be good too.
Expanded their in-house testing team, and this might turn out
drinking
to
my
be
hopium.
good at the expense of the Shadowlands. Blizzard hasn't exactly been subtle when they said that they have pretty much just abandoned Shadowlands halfway through, and they have been working on Dragonflight, and that they are ahead of schedule with Dragonflight. So despite the really tight release date and the lack of testing, maybe we burned through all that actual waiting time with all these Shadowlands routes. Now,
Plus
I
Rathian is
only
back, yeah,
hope
true.
that Dragonflight patches are also going to be ahead of schedule as well, and that we're no longer going to wait like 9 or 12 months between patches.
They should give the dragons the more than just the evoker class.
Too little content. So
before he gets into this continent stuff, but who knows with the Dracthyr whether they'll get more than just the evoker class. Lore-wise, I see it being possible, right? Right now, all they know is the evoker class because that's how they were trained. But once they integrate themselves into the people of Azeroth, I could definitely see them opening up classes for the Dracthyr. I could definitely see that happening because, you know, like I said, lore-wise, it would make sense, right? Now they're interacting with us. Now they're learning how to be a mage, be a rogue, all that stuff. So they could open that up. Now, for the evoker class, you know, that shit, I think only Dragthir will ever be able to be evokers because there are a lot of, like, dragonish abilities, like their wing hits and all that stuff that only a skeleton of a Dragthir would be able to pull off. It wouldn't make sense for anyone without wings or like a mouth of dragon, like a dragon mouth to be able to shoot shit out of their mouth. It wouldn't make sense for anyone else to be an evoker. But I can see them becoming other classes. By them, I mean the Dragthir.
I think this
Hey, what's up? Good morning,
really
Ant.
the most unfair on this list is really the alpha isn't even out yet, so we really don't know what content will be made available, but based on the actual announcement and the things they gave us, some people are really worried that not all that much will end up happening. I think this kind of ties in with the first point,
Volpera
that is
or
the
Gnome
lack of trust,
Evoker, oh
because
my god.
Blizzard didn't really deliver all that much in Shadowlands. The main concern is that they didn't really announce all these things outside of the revamps. It is a new continent and one new race and class combined with dragon riding. Furthermore, there was barely any actual gameplay shown despite the game being close to release. Usually we would expect at least a bit more gameplay to be shown outside of the zone previews and just these bits and pieces. For example, in Mists of Pandaria, we got a new continent, but we got monks for a bunch of races, as well as the Pandaran that were available to both the Alliance and the Horde. Even in Worlds of Draenor, we got an entire planet, the garrisons. However, personally, I don't think this is that fair of a concern, because they did promise that Dragon Isles will be the biggest continent thus far. At least the zones will be the biggest ones they have ever made, and the entire premise of the expansion is just super mysterious from the get-go, so it is entirely possible a whole bunch of crazy features could happen in future patches, and that it will end up as a really content-filled expansion. For example,
Need a tank class that can lust. Evoker would have been perfect. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. We've gotten a lot of tank classes. I don't feel like a tank class that can lust. Do druids not have lust anymore once they go bear form? Question that I honestly don't know the answer to.
Legion did only get Demon Hunters in the Broken Isles when you think of it.
What about heroism from Paladins? What about heroism from Paladins? Isn't that a tank that can lust?
A whole bunch of other things that
Are you tanking or healing? Go healing right now. We'll see if we get a tank.
happened, and that only happened once the expansion was released. So I can't really say this concern is too justified. We should at least wait for the alpha and beta to see how the expansion actually is and how all this stuff works.
Not druids with lust. I'm thinking of the roar that druids do. But what about paladins? What about paladins? They have lust. No, they have heroism, and they can tank.
Out. Dragthir. In my experience thus far, the Dragthir seem to be by far the center topic of all the discussions in regards to Dragonflight as an expansion, and while they're decently received overall, a lot of people have been super critical of them. In fact, I have an entire video talking about the various community modifications and the way the fans have improved the original concept of the Dragthir and really made them better. However, there are two major concerns with them. One is that people expected something akin to the Demon Hunters and the Death Knights, and
what do you mean? Paladins can't lust? Don't paladins have heroism? Am I wrong? Why have I always thought paladins can lust?
Bit disappointed with this single race, single class combo, and on the other, it is just simply their looks. Now, in regards to this
I'm wrong.
Only
I guess I'm wrong. I've never played paladins, so I wouldn't even know.
Evokers, I'd say it is a bit weird.
Because
it is strange they couldn't
heroic.
be warriors at least, but I can't say I'm really complaining about this too much. I think it is actually a good idea. It is a bit revolutionary and kind of a unique concept with a completely unique dragon class tied to a single race. Now, in regards to the actual look, I am much more critical here. Seeing that the Dragthir are supposed to be the super elite soldiers of Deathwing, a lot of us expected them to look a lot more badass, to put it simply, and a lot more...
Yeah, this is a do you even lift, bro? This Dragthir is chunky. Right here. This guy's lifting all day. This guy is more like a tween, you know? Like he's ready to go out to the tween nightclub and hang out.
dragon-like. However, the drag tiers seem quite slender and something akin to like lizard people, which is really weird since they are dragons and dragons are supposed to be big, strong, and majestic. Now, the community
A lot of
here has
paladin
done everything from making
opinions in the
really
chat
minor
now.
modifications to them completely recreating the concept, and I'd say even the minor modifications do make the drag tier look a lot more appealing than they currently are. However, overall, I don't think this is that big of a concern. We should really just wait and just see how they turn out. Dragon riding. Dragon riding is...
This one is going to be interesting. This one I feel like we know the least about so far. What is the dragon riding going to be like?
Entirely new feature coming in Dragonflight, which, while flying, is actually quite different than the regular flying that we have. You'll be able to customize your dragon, use velocity, adapt to the environment. Overall, it is marketed really as the way more fun alternative than just regular flying. However, some people pointed out that it might become sort of obsolete in the future. At the moment, it seems like it will only be available on the Dragon
Same
Isles,
as Griffin from Guild Wars. I did hear that. I've never played Guild Wars 2, but I have seen that comment in many streams, including my own, that the flying is going to be like what exists in Guild Wars 2. That Guild Wars 2 has like a form of flying that's very similar to this. And I even saw like side-by-side animations showing flying in Guild Wars 2 and what it looked like. And it was very similar.
But it will be...
They've been taking a lot from that game recently. Hey, that's when Blizzard's at their best. When they stop trying to create shit on their own and they just take shit from other games and make it better.
Primarily flying on this new continent.
So maybe the expansion is going to be great. It's a good hint. It's a good indication.
Cool, it might not be as effective or as fast as regular flying, and when people get bored, they just want to use the most efficient means of transportation possible. So if they make regular flying available, which they probably will since people have a huge mount collection, they might just ditch dragon riding and ultimately it will just become a really obscure feature. However,
nothing wrong with inspiration.
Could be
yeah, I agree.
As well, but I doubt they will make all this stuff with all the animations. It would just be too much work. Now, while I can definitely see this argument making sense,
they're gonna get nerfed after the season's over.
Discuss this yet, as we don't really know how exactly this entire thing will work out. Who knows? Maybe dragon riding could become much more fun, alternative, and faster than regular flying. But I gotta say, I'm excited for new features like this, despite not exactly being uniquely invented.
You know why I like this new feature? I like the new dragon riding feature because it's not necessarily player power connected. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something they're going to have to balance out. It's not something that could ruin the game for certain classes or make other classes more viable. It's just a fun, no pressure mechanic. It's just going to be a cool way to get around the Dragon Isles. And that's fine, because if it sucks, guess what? Nothing has to change. They just unlock flying for everyone. But if it's great and if it's fun, well, that's cool. That's cool, and no risk taken on Blizzard's part, because it's not like they had to balance 50 million specs and 20 classes, right? It's just, hey, here's a cool way of flying. Try it out. You guys like it? Oh, great.
Blizzard. Dragons are boring. Well, a lot of people are happy
Dragons
with the
are
fact
boring.
That we're returning to Azeroth.
Said no one
we have
ever.
An entire Azeroth-based expansion, and that we are now dealing with a story that is just familiar, as the dragons have been a part of World of Warcraft since the start. A lot of people at the same time think this is
new dragon mounts are going to be so terrible. I don't know, Day. I'm excited for them.
The overall story. Personally, I don't think this is the case, but I can see where this concern is coming from. Realistically, the dragons are quite well established in the
talent trees. Yeah, the talent trees need to be worked on.
We have an entire expansion based on dragons, since we already had Cataclysm and Deathwing, although technically there was a bit more old god related, so I can definitely
Sugar Dust, you have a dragon tattoo? That's cool.
see that people are not all too crazy about dragons, but in order to counter this, Blizzard seems to have really introduced a whole bunch of new lore on the already established one. For example, by creating the Dragon Isles, this dragon civilization we never knew about, then the drag tier and these primal dragons. So really, when you follow the details of the story they had just announced, there really seems to be a lot of potential for them to make this into a really good expansion. When you combine all the dragon fights with Elune, Galacon, Primalists, native races, the World Soul Titans, and all this could really turn out to be an excellent narrative, of course, if executed right. Thank you for watching. Check out these races to join the Horde